So I'm going to say some nice things about Lamelo. Eventually we'll get to the one problem with the guy. But I think his all-around game has been pretty good so far for this early in his career. He has shown that he can get by defenders. I think his shooting, while it has been up and down, I think overall it's been good enough to think he can build on it, even if his elbow flares out a little bit, but it feels like he recovers enough by the time the shot actually goes up. The passing is great, and to pinpoint a few specific ones that I've seen lately, there was one against the Raptors where he got a screen from PJ Washington, and he knew before the play even began that Fred VanVleet was going to help off of Devontae Graham in the corner. And so the second that VanVleet got off balance, Lamelo got it right to Devontae for an open three. He didn't have too many assists against the Bulls, but he did have one where he got a steal around half court, and then it led to him like taking a second, and then he got a pick and roll, and then he throws this effortless pass to Devontae in the opposite corner. It didn't even seem like he got that much power on the actual throw, but he did because it was a great pass. A good one against Dallas was he had a double screen, and as he got inside, he just basically throws a behind-the-head pass to PJ Washington, who was wide open at the top of the key. Lamelo does do that a few times, where he will actually throw a pass to a guy behind him, which is something that Rondo would do with the Celtics a bit. And, I mean, could you get into trouble with that occasionally if you've got a layup or whatever? Sure, but, the fact that he's even thinking about that is a really good sign. And his efficiency as a passer has been good for the most part as well. I know there was just the recent game where his coach pulled him, but Lamelo has not been a turnover machine for the majority of the season. And the rebounding is awesome, the way that he skies up for boards at times in a crowd, not just uncontested rebounds all the time. And I also think he's been okay on defense. Not great. Sure, he sometimes doesn't know where he's supposed to be, but he's putting in real effort, which was a little bit of a fear coming into the NBA. He closes out to shooters. He helps out to the free throw line if the guy on the wing gets beat. That said, I do think Lamelo has become a little overrated in the sense of it just seems like people are kind of ignoring his efficiency overall as a scorer. He has had 4 efficient scoring games. 4 out of 16. And some of it is because while the 3 looks promising, it's not really good right now. So there are some games when he's shooting 20% from 3 or whatever. And he is daring with them. I mean, sometimes he'll take it if he just gets a handoff play and the defender hasn't stepped up on him. And there's been a couple pull-ups and that sort of thing. But again, I am intrigued with his shooting enough. But to me, the real thing that's going to bump up Lamelo's scoring efficiency is when he figures out how to draw contact and get to the free throw line. And I do think he can do it because he is good at beating defenders off the dribble already. It's not always in the pick and roll, even if he can do that. But sometimes in a half-court setting, when the ball just gets back to him because the possession hasn't done too much, he's able to beat somebody, whether it's a couple of moves and then just freezing them in place and then going, or sometimes he just goes immediately off the catch, and he is able to get into the middle of the floor. And then sometimes he sort of bails the defense out. Now, sometimes it leads to an open shot for somebody else, and you'll take that. But other times, he goes for a layup, but he's either really evasive around the rim protector, or I feel like he just shoots it too early. There was a play against the Bulls where Lauri Markkanen was in front of the rim, and it seemed like to me, if Lamelo had just taken like an extra dribble, he could have taken a shot like on the opposite side of the basket and perhaps had a better shot against Markkanen, but he decided to pick up his dribble really early and then go for this left-handed layup where Markkanen barely had to jump to block him. Against the Magic, there was a play in which he had Vucevic in front of the rim. It was on the baseline, and he did a sort of contorted layup thing because he just really didn't want to get any contact. And it's just like, man, if he could just get that, he could already be shooting, 4 or 5 free throws a game, because he is that good at getting by defenders already. Now, against the Magic, he also had a play where he kept his dribble alive and then resulted in a 3-point play. And it was just this moment of him not being afraid to be a little physical around the basket. And we would hope those things can just develop in time for Lamelo. I mean, this season he's averaging, 1 free throw attempt a game, and he's been at 2 or less for 7 games now. Also, he's technically averaging 2 free throws a game, so we'll give him that one. So it's either that or he becomes Tony Parker at finishing inside, and he's just so good at evading defenders and rim protectors, and I mean, maybe he can do it. Again, I think he can definitely get inside already, so we'll see with that. Of course, you'd think that if he just gets a little bigger. I mean, he's 19 years old, and he's 180 pounds at 6'6". He definitely has room to gain some weight. At least that's what he's listed on a Basketball Reference. There was a thing where he said he gained about 10 to 15 pounds before the preseason, so I don't know, maybe he's closer to 190 or something. Even then, he would still have a decent amount of room to gain some more weight. So that's the heart of it for LaMelo to me. The passing is awesome, the rebounding is awesome, the defense is better than you might have thought it was going to be. The inside scoring, the in-between game, all that stuff is where he really needs to improve. And I do think the shooting can be good. And the passing has been efficient as well. His turnovers, for the most part, have been good. Some other things to notice with LaMelo. I want to see how often he plays with Rozier and Graham, because they've played about 60 minutes together total. When he is out there with just one of them, he has the ball kind of all the time. They're allowing him to run his pick and rolls. They're allowing him to make the pass off of like Rozier or Graham doing some off-ball action, or Hayward doing a similar thing. They get it to him in transition as much as they can. This is not a Denny situation where he's not getting the ball enough. At least in my opinion. Again, I do think LaMelo has been a tad overrated if you were just looking at like ESPN tweets all day. So, you might think, well, he deserves the ball over everybody on this team. I don't think so. And yeah, that's kind of what I got on LaMelo. I feel like he should improve on the things that he's not so good at right now, mainly the drawing contact and getting better at finishing around guys or over guys or through guys, whatever you want to say. Keeping his dribble alive a half a second longer when he's going to the basket, that sort of thing. And a lot of that comes back to he can gain weight and he can already get by defenders. So just picture this 6'6", one-day, 210-pound guy just getting by guards and going into the teeth of the defense. Like, that guy's going to draw some contact. He has to. And I guess the last thing I would say before I get out of here is this LaMelo, Devontae, Rozier thing, it's fine right now. I think eventually it's going to get kind of awkward. Not from the sense of LeVar Ball talking, like who cares about what he thinks, but it's just you picked this guy number 3 overall. Devontae has not been great to open up the season. We'll see if he can be better as the year goes on, but I mean, if somebody has a good offer for one of those other guards, you're going to have to do the move eventually. Unless they think they can start all 3 of them,